Blog Talk Radio.
It appears as though something has happened in the motorcade route. Something, I repeat, has happened in the motorcade route.
Play every stroke tonight.
Who controls the past, controls the future. Who controls the present, controls the past.
The death of bin Laden marks the most significant achievement to date in our nation's effort to defeat Al-Qaeda.
All you got to do is start looking around. Start thinking for yourself. Start investigating things. And you will see it all right there. So you have the power. Humanity has the power. We have the power. Do you want to fight? You better believe you got one.
Let us never tolerate outrageous conspiracy theories.
And for me, give me liberty or give me death.
The answer to 1984 is 1776.
I feel like this all the time, trying to politically awaken people that they're being lied to, that there's an agenda. It's not left or right. It's, hey, there's mind control going on. The signal's broadcast 24 hours a day through all this media. Just become aware of it, and they'll say there's nothing going on. And I want to say, put on these glasses or start chewing concrete.
They have taken the hearts and minds of our leaders. They have recruited the rich and the powerful, and they have blinded us to the truth.
The question is, do we all work for central bankers? That's what I want to address to our guest tonight.
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
An estimated 50 to 70 million Americans suffer from a sleep disorder or sleep deprivation.
Outside the limit of our sight, feeding off us, perched on top of us from birth to death, are our owners.
Latest census numbers prove the United States has the biggest gap between rich and poor compared to all westernized countries today.
Our projections show that by the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and the dominion of this power alliance. The gains have been substantial, both for ourselves and for you, the human power elite.
But for the first time in all of human history, mankind is politically awakened. That's a total new reality.
I've got one that can see.
We can't be the only ones who can see.
Unfortunately, you've grown up hearing voices that incessantly warn of government as nothing more than some separate, sinister entity that's at the root of all our problems.
It's a new morning in America. Fresh.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you were with us or you were with the terrorists.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals.
I love that intro. Oh, I could play it 1,000 times. Oh, all right. It's July 10th, 2015. Broadcasting here in Greensboro, North Carolina. And let me tell you, it's about 110 degrees in the shade down here. Oh, man, it's hot. The birds are falling out of the sky, begging for water. The bugs are crying as soon as it gets dark. Please, I need water. The grass is yellow. Oh, it's so hot down here in the south. Oh, my Lord. No wonder why everybody's nuts down here. Let me tell you, you cannot go outside for more than 20 minutes, okay, in the direct sunlight without wanting to pass out. Let me tell you, the air is so thick, you could take a pair of scissors and cut your name in it, okay? That's how thick the air is. Oh, it's horrendous. It's terrible. Terrible. I mean, I just don't know how much longer I could take it down living down here in North Carolina. I mean, it's just, the air is just unbearable. I mean, I've got to go. I mean, you move up north and, you know, yeah, it's nice up there right now, but as soon as November comes, they get 20 feet of snow and you can't go nowhere. And you're trapped in your house 24 hours a day. So, you know, where do you go? They say Florida. Yeah, well, Florida is worse than North Carolina, this, you know, from April till October. You know, it's so muggy down there, and then, you know, the thunderstorms, the tropical storms. I mean, it's, you know, it's like playing Russian roulette. You don't know if you'll get hit with a hurricane one year, and when that's it, you lose your house. So where do you go? Is there any place around in America where you can live and it'd be so, you know, where it's, I mean, I understand it's got to get cold, but man, like up north, you know, I grew up in New Hampshire. You know, it snowed when the sun was out. I mean, we get 4 feet of snow, you know, on the driveway there. You know, we got to have, all you're doing is moving snow around all day. That was your full-time job. I remember walking to the bus stop when I was a kid, 32 below. I said, oh, no way. I can't live like this. Well, what do? I moved to North Carolina, and now it's 1,000 degrees above down here. I mean, I'm telling you, it is hot. Hot. July is a terrible month to live in the state of North Carolina or anywhere in the South. It is so muggy, and the air is so thick. I mean, it's terrible. Terrible. I mean, I guess what you have to do is have to have seasonal homes, you know, because you have to have a home in the north during the summer and a home in the south during the winter. And I guess then you'd be able to beat Mother Nature, because let me tell you, the way it is now here in North Carolina in the month of July. I tell you, it's hard. You can't grow a garden. You plant a freaking plant nowadays. You got to stand out all day out there pouring water on it. It'll die. I mean, the sun will kill it in an hour. I mean, it's terrible. Well, I don't have any guests tonight planned. I did have one individual who's supposed to call in tonight. He canceled. And then I had another individual. He may call in within the next 15 minutes. If he does not, then we'll cut this show short. But I'm going to go ahead and give a little lecture until then. And we're going to try to entertain you tonight a little bit. I know we talked about some serious topics the past couple of days. We talked about the Confederate flag and the issue of that. And I was arguing all day on the Internet, on Facebook, with people about the Confederate flag. And it just amazes me how ignorant people just are. And you know what? There really is no hope. Sometimes I really believe that. There's really no hope. Because I had a debate with somebody on Facebook today about the Confederate flag. And what this person did was, is he went to Wikipedia and pulled out one quote, 3 sentences, from what the Confederate flag was really about, okay? And he posted it on Facebook. But that's not the whole story. He only took out 4 lines. And he wanted to make it sound like it was a racist emblem. It was a racist symbol. Because this white supremacist who owned slaves, even though back then there were no white supremacists, because most people back then, if they were a slave owner, that was not considered being mean. That was policy back then. That's the way it was. Okay? We look at that today like, wow, that's evil. Well, let me tell you something. Back then, it was normal. Okay? Yes, today it's not. We've changed. It's not the same anymore. It's not good to own somebody and, be mean to them and tell them what to do and make them work all day long and give them a few scraps for pay, Well, and you know what? Technically, that's kind of how we live today. People go to work all day long. They work at these big major companies. They make, $7 an hour? Peanuts? To work like a dog for what? Nothing? Has slavery really changed? No, not really, I don't think. But we don't have to get into that tonight. Maybe another day we'll address the corporation, the corporate whore that runs America. We'll really get into that. But what I'm trying to say is that on Facebook today, I was talking about the Confederate flag issue because today in South Carolina they removed the Confederate flag from the building it was placed upon adjacent to the State House, and they removed it, and now it's placed in a museum. So everybody's happy now, and I guess there'll be no shootings ever again, right? Right? I mean, that's what the purpose was, right? I mean, the Confederate flag made this happen, all these shootings. I mean, that's why this person went in there and killed those 9 people in the church, didn't he? It was a Confederate flag. That's what he said. It was an evil flag. It made him do it. The flag made him do it. The flag's gone now. It's in a museum. It's no longer around. So I guess there'll be no more shootings, huh? Idiots. You're a bunch of jackasses if you believe that. Let me tell you that right now. You're a jackass if you believe that. You know what? Like the gentleman on Facebook today that debated me about the Confederate flag. 4 sentences from a history page and posted it on Facebook. You know what? On my page, on where I guess someone sent me a message and they sent me a comment about, because they know I've been talking about this back couple days, the Confederate flag, and they put a comment on my Facebook page about the Confederate flag. Okay. And what had happened, and I read it, and it just infuriated me because that's what this idiot did. You see, and I'm going to read you the post. I'm going to pull it up right now, and if anyone wants to go to my page, they can check it out. But this is what this idiot did. Okay, and basically I won the argument, but you see, he doesn't admit it. This is what he posts on my page. Okay. Let's see. One of my buddies, my nephew, posted about the Walmart issue. I guess another person wanted to try to get a Confederate flag cake made, and they refused to do it because the public is so scared of the Confederate flag right now. It's an evil symbol, and he wanted something put on a cake that said "Heritage, not hate," and they refused to do it. But yet somebody brought a emblem of ISIS. And we know what ISIS is. Everybody's talking about it. They're a terrorist organization out in the Middle East. They're chopping people's heads off. But ISIS, they made an emblem of ISIS and put it on the cake, and Walmart baked it for them. How? That just goes to show you how stupid people really are. But anyway, that person sent me that comment, and I thought it was kind of funny. But somebody had to put their 2 cents in worth. And he wrote a comment underneath this post, and this is exactly what he says. As a people, we are fighting to maintain the heaven-ordained supremacy of the white man over the inferior or colored race. A white flag would thus be emblematic of our cause. William T. Thompson, Confederate flag designer, also a national emblem. It is significant of our higher cause, the cause of our superior race, etc. So he's trying to make a point that the person that designed the Confederate flag is a white supremacist. Then there was no such thing as white supremacists. We know that whites back then were superior. They were, they had slaves. They had owned slaves. Now, the treatment of slaves can vary through stories. A lot of the whites back then did treat the slaves in high regard, actually. They were actually members of the family. Yes, did they work? Yes, they worked for the slave owner. Were they paid? No. But they were given housing. They were given meals. And did some of the slave owners hurt and abuse the slaves? Yes. Just like today in America. We have families that abuse their children. They abuse their workers. It's still happening. They're just not considered slaves, okay? So anyway, that's what this person was back then. Did he design the Confederate flag? He designed a certain style of the second Confederate flag. So I went and researched it, where those comments came from, and what he actually had posted, this William T. Thompson. And I looked it up, and basically this is my reply to him. I mean, I'm not going to read the whole thing because I went over the entire history of the Confederate flag from where he quoted. But I kind of knocked him here on this one. This is how I replied to him. You are very wrong. Your quote in which you took from second national flag, the stainless banner, 1863-1865, which is from Wikipedia, of flags of the Confederate States of America. Anyone and most everybody do these things, okay? And to apply a popular opinion to fit with what everyone else is thinking. However, this is not fact about the Confederate flag, nor true history. If you're to quote, then you must tell the whole truth, which is true. Any idiot can open up a history book, find a passage in that book, and take 4 lines out of it and post it on the internet and say, this is what it is. That's what it is. And you know what? He is just as guilty, those 9 people down in South Carolina, because he took the flag and he took it as a symbol to go kill those 9 people. He's just as guilty, this person, who took and distorted history, because that's not what the Confederate flag really stood for. But he took 4 lines from a history book and posted it on my page to prove his point. That, folks, is an idiot. Someone who is ignorant, who does not know history, and who's going along to get along so he can fit in with the rest of the crowd. Okay? Anyway, what I did is I posted the entire chapter of that section that he quoted from as a reply to him. Okay? And as most people react today, they can never admit they're wrong. He kind of backpedaled. I'm not going to read all the comments because that's not what we're here for tonight. But if anyone knows, they have my name. They can look up my Facebook. It's it's public. It's public knowledge. Anyone has access to it. You have my name. My name is in the title of the show. blogtalkradio.com, Joseph Gibson. So all you got to do is type Joseph Gibson in the Facebook and you'll find my page. But anyway, I posted the entire history of the Confederate flag, where it explains that that's not where it originated from, and that's not what it was really symbolized from. Now, the battle flag that hate groups use, or groups that express hate towards other ethnic backgrounds or people, I can't call them hate because that's their opinion. They have a right to their opinion. If they don't like a certain group of people, hey, that's your right, as long as you don't hurt somebody, right? That's your First Amendment right. Hey, if I don't like those black trees out there in my yard, I don't like Lakeland cypress trees, that's my right. Does it make me a person of hate? I hate trees, it doesn't matter. It's my opinion as an American citizen, okay? I have the right to believe the way I want, as long as I don't hurt someone else, okay? That's where we get confused about what it's all about. But I posted many comments about the Confederate flag and, like I said, the real history in the background. And of course, he replied sarcastically and started putting the perspective of what we were talking about into a third-party perspective instead of taking accountability of what he was saying and admitting he was wrong. Because people cannot do that. And I started thinking about it later on, and you know what? We're lost. Sometimes I think it's best to turn off the radio, turn off the TV, don't look at any newspapers, and just go about your day. And you know what? You might be a happier person, because all this bullshit out there and all these people with their nonsense and their irrational and not logical beliefs are really screwing up the country when you really think about it. I mean, it's pathetic When you're wrong, you're wrong. Admit it. Some people can't admit it. Well, okay. But you know what? You're on a public forum here. You're on a Facebook page where many people are seeing this comment. You're quoting a passage from a historical page that millions of people visit a year or look at or use as a research venue to study, and you're taking little excerpts out and applying them to your argument and using it to make your point. That is one of the big problems in America today. And that's how history is distorted. And that's why this big Confederate flag thing is so blown out of proportion. And then, he goes back to comment, well, the bottom line is when people see the flag, they get upset. Well, of course they do. Because that's not what the flag really represents. I'd get upset too if I didn't know the truth. Right? I mean, common sense. We don't deal with common sense anymore in America. That's the problem. And that's why, I made this show what it is. Understanding the times in which we live. And I'm going to go after anybody or whoever is deceiving people today. Or, these platforms that screw people up. You like spam email that you get in your email box. All these scams. You want a $1,000 Amazon gift card. Stuff like that. We're gonna tear those things down on this show. As this show grows, and it is growing, and I like to thank the people that are listening. Because let me tell you, the ratings are going up. I looked at the stats today. From the first time I broadcasted. The ratings are going up. The number of people who are logging on and listening to this show and the archive shows is really climbing. So I thank those people that are supporting the show because that helps me because my show will grow in the ratings. And eventually I'll be one of the top broadcasters on Blog Talk Radio. I hope that's what happens. I've asked a lot of family to help me out here, try to listen in because the more numbers call in and listen, it really helps me out. And, I just hope that's what happens in the future. So I ask for your help and your support. But a lot of people, when they don't hear what they want to hear, they won't offer their support. They'll offer their support momentarily, and that's another problem that, I see in America. If you're going to dedicate yourself to someone, you've got to give 100%. And that goes for all factors in all areas of life today. Whether or not when you're married to somebody, in relationships, you don't give 100%, what happens? That's why you have a high divorce rate. You don't give 100% to your children and dedicate yourself to your children, what happens? Your children grow up screwed up in the head. When you're in school, if you don't give 100% to learning and educating yourself, what happens? You end up with, not knowing what you're supposed to learn and know to plan for the future. When you're driving down the road, when you're driving your car, if you don't give 100%, you're text messaging, you're on the phone, you're not paying attention to the road, what happens? You get into a car accident. It's everything that you have to deal with in life today. 100%. You've got to give it your all. If you can't do it, guess what? You're going to be at the bottom of the barrel crying, you owe me, you owe me. Give me this, give me that. You owe me. Why didn't you help me out? Right? Am I right or wrong? I mean, that's all I'm trying to say here tonight. I'm trying to motivate people here tonight. I'm not trying to cause a debate tonight. And I'm not trying to really, harp on any special topics. Just for future references, Sunday night is going to be our family show night. And that's when I ask all family members, and my family too, and I ask the families that are out there to chip in, call in, and chip in, and talk about the problems that we're facing today so we can understand the problems that we have today. And in the past, we've had a lot of success. A lot of my family has called in and chipped in and helped out with the show. and that's good. So this Sunday night, we're going to have supposedly a really good show. We're going to have a lot of family call in and chip in with the show, okay? So that's very important. Tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to have scheduled. I'm going to have a more, solid platform of a schedule. I've already got it down. Just so you know, I'm telling you on the air tonight, Mondays, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Tuesdays, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Wednesdays, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Thursdays, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Friday, it was supposed to be 11 o'clock broadcast. That's what I've been advertising. But you know what? I'm a little bit tired, and I'd like to spend time with my family, so I dropped it back a little bit to 8 p.m., okay? So in the future, I think I'm going to leave it at 8 p.m. because that's a good time. So like I said, I always post and let people know that I'm going to change the time. I'm not going to have people, say, hey, I got to listen to this guy tonight, and I don't show up. That will never happen. I'll let you know beforehand. And anyone who has a question, you can always contact me here on the blogtalkradio.com, or you can email me, joegibsonishome@yahoo.com. And you can email me, and, I'll answer any kind of let you know what's going on with the show. Because I'm going to tell you right now, as we progress in the future, this show, I mark my words, the show that I'm hosting will be the most popular show on Blog Talk Radio, no matter what I have to do. Because you don't want to know why? We're going to take on the issues that we face today as Americans and Christians. We're going to take them on, and we're going to try to have an awakening in this country. And if we don't, well, guess what? Guess what, folks? Just going to keep going downhill. You can keep complaining, keep crying, stomping your feet. The jobs will continue to be lost. You'll see your politicians continuing to laugh at you and steal all your money. And you'll continue to lose your homes. You won't have no money. And eventually, guess what happens? The tribulation. We'll get into that in a future show also. Okay, the tribulation. And you're not going to be teleported out of here before the tribulation, okay? Just want you to know that right now. You will see at least the first half of the tribulation. Open your Bibles and read it. It tells you. So whether or not you believe me or not, that's fine. But that's pretty much of what you're facing down the road. So, but like in the days of Noah, like our good Lord said, it'll be just like it's gonna be in the end of days, just like it was in the days of Noah. That's what it said, right? That's what the Bible says. We see it. We see it happening right now, right before our very eyes. Hey, guess what? California just introduced legislation that husband and wife is no longer a proper term to define marriage. Back on your Facebook, start text messaging. Okay? It's not important, is it? You better wake up, America. You better wake up, and you better do it quick. Because I'll tell you what, when I look at my fellow Americans out there, you can ask my wife. It makes me sick. I ain't got no time for anybody out there. You drive like jackasses. You're in my way. You're stupid. You're all medicated on some sort of medication. You don't know where you're going. You're uneducated. And you don't even know how to talk to each other. You walk around like zombies. And trust me, you think you're tough? You're not. Most of you are a bunch of cowards out there. You'd stand up and fix what is happening to your country today. Be ashamed of yourself allowing these things to happen. Call yourself Americans. Yeah, you're so tough, aren't you? With your flags and everything else. So you're a bunch of losers out there. You should be ashamed of yourself. You call yourself Christians. You believe in the Lord Jesus Christ. Guess what? Your tax dollars are supporting the murder of children, babies. And you're going to call yourself a Christian? You should be ashamed of yourself. Ashamed. I tell you what, I'm really disgusted at the way things. I know it's Friday night, and it's party night tonight, and we got it's bebop night tonight, and many people aren't looking to hear stuff like this, you know. We got to go here. We got to go there. We got to do this, here, there, bye, here. I got to go. I got to go. I got to go. Just do it. Just do it. Just do it. You need to start sitting back and looking around and seeing what's happening. Wake up. Wake up. You need to understand the times in which we live today. You know, love your family. Spend time with your family. You know, I mean, talk to your family. You know, you see all these sad stories out there, you know, where people lose family members and they're bawling their eyes out. You want to know why? Because that's guilt. They didn't get a chance to spend the time they wanted to with their family. You know, you need to wake up. I mean, it's really sad, really sad. I think I got a question here, so I'm going to connect this person. Hello. Hello. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes,
can
you're on
you hear
the
me?
air. I can hear you.
This is Bridget from Reidsville, North Carolina.
How you doing?
I'm okay. I just had a comment real quick about the Confederate flag thing that you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I think the reason why they're bringing this up and why everybody is so bent out of shape about it is so they distract people from the real issues that we should be paying attention to. Because if anybody's worried about is a Confederate flag, they won't see everything else they're doing underneath their noses. And there's a lot of stuff.
And what
every
do you think
day.
they're trying to what do you think they're distracting us from?
All these laws they're passing. I mean, I just read about something the other day. New York Senate, they want to pass a law where babies can be injected with poison and killed all the way up until their full term.
Wow.
And see, people don't, you know, they're focused on something else so they can get by with this stuff.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you. You won't hear any argument with me on that one. That's true. They distract you. Just look at what they passed out in California, the vaccination law. And you know what? All these vaccinations now, these pharmaceutical companies, it's full steam ahead now. They can put anything they want out there. And those people got to take it. Guess what? Your kid's not going to school. You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Exactly.
It's crazy.
All because we're paying attention to a Confederate flag, or we're paying attention to what somebody said about something else that doesn't even matter. And meanwhile, they're passing more abortion laws that are more lenient than ever. They're passing all this stuff about immunizations. And if those people had been paying attention to that, maybe it wouldn't have passed in the first place, because everybody could get together and stand up. Instead, they want to divide everybody. So they say that this is a racial thing, the Confederate flag. So now they're dividing people over it.
I know.
Because you got people that they're getting mad when they see somebody flying the flag. They're like, oh, that's a symbol of hate. You can't do that. You can't do that. And they get people mad and they get people divided.
That's true. That's true. I mean, it's sad because, you know, people should really, you know, pay attention to, like, what you're saying. You know, they should really examine, like, for instance, you see everyone talking over there in the corner? Let's pay attention to what those people over there are talking about, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, it's kind of like when you were in school, you know, you see everyone talking, you know, in a corner someplace, and then, but the real important stuff is going on over there.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know,
they get everybody to run over here. You're right.
Yep.
They get everybody to run over here. Let's run over here. Let's pay attention to this issue about the Confederate flag, and let's throw some misinformation in there. So let's get everybody all riled up about that. Meanwhile, we'll be over here and we'll pass all these laws, and they'll be too busy with that to stop this.
Yep, that's true. That's true. Well, thank you for your call. I appreciate it. And
you're welcome.
I'm going to start getting ready to wrap it up tonight because I got a big show coming up on Sunday evening, and if you missed anything earlier in the show, then you can really tune in Sunday night, 8:30, and if I decide to broadcast tomorrow evening, then it will be at 6 p.m., but that's not definite. I'll let the dedicated listeners know, the people who follow me, tomorrow morning if I'm going to go ahead and broadcast tomorrow evening at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. But like I said, the previous schedules, so they're out there so you know, are going to be 6 p.m. Monday through Thursday. Friday, it's either going to be at 6 or 7 or 11. Most people like me to have it a little bit earlier because it gets too late and they have to get up and go to work in the morning or they got something to do. So I'm going to get ready to go ahead and wrap it up. People that were listening tonight, I really appreciate it. This was just a quick show. Like I said, I'm new at this. I'm trying to gather the information. I'm trying to go slow here, and I'm trying to get followers to tune in. And I really thank those who participated tonight. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Good night.
I feel like this all the time, trying to politically awaken people that they're being lied to, that there's an agenda. It's not left or right. It's, hey, there's mind control going on. The signals broadcast 24 hours a day through all this media. Just become aware of it, and they'll say there's nothing going on. And I want to say, put on these glasses or start chewing concrete.
They have taken the hearts and minds of our leaders. They have recruited the rich and the powerful. And they have blinded us to the truth.
The question is, do we all work for central bankers? That's what I want to address to our guest tonight.
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
An estimated 50 to 70 million Americans suffer from a sleep disorder or sleep deprivation.
Outside the limit of our sight, feeding off us, perched on top of us from birth to death, are our owners.
Latest census numbers prove the United States has the biggest gap between rich and poor compared to all westernized countries today.
Our projections show that by the year 2025, not only America, but the entire planet will be under the protection and the dominion of this power alliance. The gains have been substantial, both for ourselves and for you, the human power elite.
That for the first time in all of human history, mankind is politically awakened. That's a total new reality.
I've got one that can see.
We can't be the only ones